Imagine a place where the sun does not rise for months at a time. A vast white desert where the only sound is the terrifying groan of thick ice crushing against itself under the pressure of the frozen ocean. In May 1845, 129 men aboard the two most technologically advanced ships of the British Empire sailed directly into this white nightmare. They were the pride of a nation, equipped with 3 years of gourmet provisions and cutting-edge marine engineering. Their mission was to conquer the last untouched frontier of the globe, the legendary Northwest Passage. But not a single one of them would ever return alive. What followed was not just a typical shipwreck. It was a slow, agonizing descent into madness, disease, and acts of sheer desperation that history tried to freeze in time forever. Welcome to Frozen Secrets. Today, we break through the ice of time to uncover the darkest mystery of the Arctic, the tragedy of the Franklin expedition. Sir John Franklin, a respected and veteran explorer, set sail with two legendary vessels, HMS Erebus and HMS Terror. These ships were not ordinary wooden boats. They were heavily reinforced with iron plating to smash through ice, fitted with advanced steam engines borrowed from railway locomotives, and equipped with internal heating systems. They carried vast libraries with thousands of books, musical instruments, and tons of canned food. They were, for all intents and purposes, indestructible floating fortresses. In July 1845, a crew from a passing whaling ship spotted the two vessels in Baffin Bay, quietly waiting for favorable weather conditions to enter the treacherous Arctic labyrinth. That was the absolute last time those 129 men were ever seen alive by the civilized world. For 2 years, a tense silence fell over England. But when the year 1848 arrived without a single word from the crew, panic quickly set in. Where could an entire ultra-equipped fleet completely vanish? The British Navy launched the largest rescue operations in maritime history. Dozens of ships scoured the Arctic wasteland. However, instead of finding survivors, they uncovered a trail of clues that sent shivers down the spines of investigators. The first tragic clues were found on Beechy Island, 3 solitary graves marked with simple wooden crosses. These belonged to 3 young sailors who had died during the very first winter. More than a century later, in the 1980s, scientists exhumed these bodies, which had been perfectly preserved by the freezing Arctic permafrost. When they looked upon the lifelike faces of those men, they finally understood that the true enemy had not just been the sub-zero temperatures. Laboratory analysis revealed a shocking truth. A massive, lethal concentration of lead was present in their tissues. How was this possible? The terrifying answer lay within the very technology the crew prided themselves on. The thousands of tins of canned food, purchased in a rush from a low-bidding supplier, had been poorly sealed using melted lead. As the sailors ate their meals day after day, they were slowly poisoning themselves. Lead poisoning destroys the human mind first. It triggers intense paranoia, extreme physical fatigue, excruciating pain, and vivid hallucinations. Before their ships were even hopelessly crushed by the shifting ice, the crew was already trapped in a state of collective dementia. Driven by decisions made by failing minds, their dark fate was sealed long before the end. In September 1846, the Erebus and the Terror became permanently trapped in the relentless ice near King William Island. The following summer, the ice failed to melt. The provisions were spoiling, and scurvy and lead poisoning were ravaging the remaining crew. In June 1847, Sir John Franklin died under mysterious circumstances. After 2 brutal years trapped in the ice, the new commander Francis Crozier made a desperate gamble. On April 22, 1848, the 105 survivors abandoned the ships. Their plan was to walk thousands of kilometers across the frozen wilderness toward the nearest trading post in northern Canada. In reality, it was a march of death. Weakened, severely ill, and wearing heavy wool clothing that was completely useless against the freezing Arctic blizzards, the men began to drop one by one. Local Inuit hunters later shared apocalyptic scenes with rescue teams. They described seeing men who looked like ghosts, walking forward until they fell dead in the snow, while the others kept marching without even stopping to look back. But the darkest secret of all was yet to be uncovered. When rescue teams eventually discovered a portion of the skeletal remains on King William Island, they made a finding that horrified the public of the Victorian era. The bones of the British sailors showed deep, unmistakable cut marks made by pocket knives. In the final, agonizing stages of starvation, when hunger conquered every remaining ounce of humanity, the survivors had resorted to cannibalism. They were forced to consume their own fallen comrades just to buy themselves a few more hours of life. For nearly 170 years, the final resting place of the two ships remained completely hidden. Then, in an incredible breakthrough, modern sonar technology located the wrecks of HMS Erebus and HMS Terror. They rest at the bottom of the Arctic waters, perfectly preserved by the freezing ocean, acting as time capsules full of secrets waiting to be brought to light. The 129 men sailed away in search of eternal glory, but they found only an inescapable hell of ice. Their story remains the ultimate testament to human limitations when facing the raw, untamed power of nature. If you enjoyed this documentary, please subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell. Leave a comment down below. Do you believe this tragedy was caused entirely by poor leadership decisions, or were they simply cursed by the relentless Arctic ice? Stay tuned. The ice always holds the truth, if you know where to dig. See you in the next episode of Frozen Secrets.